Alright, I'm out here today in the garden and I'm showing you what marshmallow looks like. I use marshmallow as a very good medicinal herb for all sorts of things that I'll go into in a minute. But it's cold out here, so I just want to show you the plant growing out in the garden. It is going dormant, so all these leaves will be falling off. The marshmallow leaves have a beautiful velvet, they're so soft, velvety leaf to them. I don't know if I can adequately show that, get that velvet. You harvest the leaves, and they do have flowers, but I don't really use the flowers, and the root. I only dig my root every couple years, and I do have root inside that I'm going to show you that is dried. I usually harvest it right before it goes dormant, so I've already harvested it, and I have some leaves that I'll show you that are dried, but primarily we're going to be looking at the root today. But I just wanted to come out here, and I've already put the covers over because we had almost a freeze last night, and we're probably going to have a freeze tonight, so it's pretty cold out here. And I wanted to let you see it's not flowered out because it's not summer or spring, but those are nice and healthy ones right there. That's what it usually looks like. And this thing can grow tall, can grow about 5 feet tall. But you can also look at it, what it looks like when it's starting to go dormant, and all this will die back, and I'll trim all of this back, and it will be underneath this cover. But we still have a week where it looks like it's going to be nice. Generally, we don't have a freeze here in Zone 8A until about Thanksgiving, so everything is really wonky this year. But let me cover this back up, and we'll go back inside, and we'll talk about marshmallow. Okay, we are back in the kitchen and we are going to look at marshmallow. Okay, so when it's dried, and I showed you the fresh leaves, I don't have any that are not on their sprigs here. I have removed all the leaves and I have chopped it up, and it's very woolly and soft. It just feels really nice. It's got a real velvety feel to it. So you dry those. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks depending on the humidity in your climate to dry, and then I just cut them up with scissors and I store them in jars, and we use the leaves and the root on marshmallow, and these are the leaves, and the root is a little bit more complicated. So here, let me show you, here is a big root that I have cut out and dried. And like I said, I only harvest this about every 2 years, unless the plant's gone a little crazy and I feel like, okay, I have so much of this, it spreads by itself, that I can go ahead and harvest some. But so this is the root, and it sort of has a fibrous, you can almost see little holes, sort of spongy, fibrous stalk to it. It's very woody. And so when you cut it up, the idea is you want to try to get it into, it splits pretty well. And you want to try to get it into as small a pieces as possible. Now, when you're steeping a marshmallow root tea, unlike leaves and flowers and stems, they break down more and infuse your water, your boiling water, much quicker than these woody pieces of root. And roots and barks really need to steep a lot longer. So when you're making a tea out of roots and barks, you really need to let them steep for a minimum of 10 minutes. 15 minutes is a lot better in the boiling water. And if you have a pestle and mortar, you might want to try to pound it down. You can also grate this. You can pulverize it more, and it's really hard to powder, though, if you're really trying. I guess you could if you really, really wanted to work on it. But I pretty much just shave it and I let it steep for as long as possible when I'm making the teas. And the way I process the root, it's just, I usually use a deeper bowl here for the purposes. You just cut it, and some of these, when you get to these bigger pieces, it's more of a shaving situation. You can see, like, it's just going to shave off, and I just go around and work on it here. Like I said, if I use a deeper bowl, that way when it's popping all over, it doesn't get all over my thing. I do scrub, I rinse, when I bring the root in before it's dry, I rinse it real well, and then I take a vegetable scrubber and I really scrub down so it is really nice and clean. This is just the color of it. I scrub it all down and get all the dirt and everything off, so when it's drying, and I trim it as close to the root as possible so I don't have any green or stems. And when it's drying, it's clean and it dries clean. And then I just put my pieces of the root in here. Talk a little bit about marshmallow. This I use extensively in UTI teas, and I will link to my UTI tea that I have the video up on. It took me a few years to work that tea out. It's an amazing tea that utilizes marshmallow. Marshmallow is such a key ingredient because marshmallow provides sort of like a coating or a lining to the urinary tract, the intestines, and the stomach. It isn't going to take away any urinary tract infection you have or diarrhea or whatever's causing your problems, but it will minimize your suffering. And if you've ever had a urinary tract infection, you know that there's just a lot of pain and discomfort involved. And drinking the UTI tea, it coats all of those linings and just makes things a little bit more bearable. I need to stress, it does not take away your infection. It just helps minimize the pain and discomfort that you're feeling. And part of that reason is because it has special chemicals, which I'm not going to go into trying to pronounce all of them, there's 2 of them, that provide that lining or that coating for you. And then it also has anti-inflammatory properties that help shrink the swelling of the lining of your intestines or your urinary tract. Because if you've had a urinary tract infection, everything, that whole tract gets very inflamed and irritated, and it just complicates and compounds. It's also used for respiratory situations because of the anti-inflammatory and because of that protective line coating that it provides for any kind of mucous membrane that's in your body. So I will definitely link to my UTI tea, and I think it might also be in the cold tea. I will double check on that. I always consult my recipes, even though I use them over and over again, especially as I get older and I have more kids and more stuff going on. I want to make sure that I'm always making my recipe properly, so I always consult my recipe. Even if as I'm going down the list, I remember, yes, that's it, yes, that's right. I still like to double check everything that I do. So that's a little bit on marshmallow leaves and the marshmallow roots and what it looks like before it's processed and its uses. And I'll be checking back on my herbal playlist because as I'm harvesting all of my medicinal herbs now, because it's fall and I'm starting to dry things and I'm starting to put them away, and I'm going to be starting to make more teas and salves and syrup as the need arises because we're getting into cold and flu season now. So again, thank you for joining me. It's been Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Bye.